All right, Dan actually asked a pretty good question here on Facebook, and it's an age-old question if you've been around the guitar scene for the past like 10, 15 years. He says, "Things are going. Hope you're well." I am doing well, sir. Thank you very much. And he goes on to ask, Kemper or real this go? I'm not sure what he means by this go. I think that may have been a typo. But maybe he means like Kemper or real amp. I'm going to assume that you mean. Just comment and tell me if I'm wrong. I'm going to go ahead and answer that because I'm pretty sure that's what you mean. If he's asking whether I prefer something like a Kemper versus a real amp, and I have to say that I did own a Kemper for a very, very short period of time. It was like a week, and I personally, I preferred the Axe-Fx 2. I had an Axe-Fx 2 for a few years, and that thing was just a powerhouse. And I get why people love, the real thing. Right, right. I personally preferred the Axe-Fx 2 over the Kemper, but that's because I'm a super tech guy and like the little LCD screen didn't bother me. A lot of guys like the Kemper because it's a bunch of knobs and lights and it reminds them more of an amp, and that's super cool. And I do love that experience, but honestly, like it's all useful. Like if you're recording in a space where you're not able to turn up your cabinet or and like really push some air and like really capture it with a microphone on it, or you just don't even want to deal with it and you're just always recording guitar music, always recording guitar, and you need something to be ultra reliable with the sounds that it makes and with the curves that you're able to put on it, and then get that tone, repeat it every single time. Then yeah, Kemper or Axe-Fx is definitely a fantastic way to go. And between the two of them, pick your price point, pick your poison. They're both fantastic units. But when it comes to real amps, it's like we've got a beautiful amp wall here. I should pick up the camera and show you guys, but it's kind of in a set position right now. But we got a beautiful amp wall here. We got a room that I can turn up to like 120 decibels, like 24/7 if we want to. It's like, why wouldn't we run that, right? Like kind of capture a moment, right? So, and I found that with when I had an Axe-Fx on hand in the studio, in the rack, ready to go, plugged in, people still just looked at the amp rack and they were like, hey, why, like, I want to play through this thing. Like, this thing sounds amazing. This thing looks awesome. I remember these, like specifically about a certain amp that they recognize or not. And everyone always wanted to use that anyway. So personally, I had no use for the Axe-Fx anymore. It was never being used. I even tried pushing it sometimes and saying, hey guys, this Axe-Fx is really amazing. Like it might have like exactly what we want. Someone would say, no, 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 no. I still want to use the diesel. Or no, no, no. You got that Fender out there, man. Let's use that thing. And I get it. I get it. Like, yeah, sure. Plug into the real thing if you got it. If you got a mic, if you got some nice mics, you got some open space that you can blast in, mic it up. But there's definitely a lot of utility in having like a Kemper or an Axe-Fx or something like that. Or like we were talking about earlier, even just plugins, like just built right into your computer that sound on par, like just as good as an Axe-Fx or a Kemper. So, bigger pardon. So yeah, between Kemper or the real thing, man, like can the place where you're playing at handle those dBs? If so, then I would say, get good at miking up a cab. Understand what it means to mic up a cab, and you'll be a better engineer for it. But if you're just looking for something that's just going to do its job, and you just got to punch in, do the job, punch out, and you're good, Kemper is a great way to go. But with the Kemper, just be really careful, because not all of those amp models that you download from the internet sound amazing. Sometimes you can be duped by and be like, oh, this sounds great, but then you bring it in your car or listen elsewhere and like it just doesn't sound right. So have a lot of models with that Kemper to choose from. Really know your gear.